Good evening. The tardy bell has rang, so we probably need to get started. We welcome you to our board meeting this night, and the agendas are posted on 3 walls if you didn't notice. And we'd like to begin our meeting this evening by having the Loman View Bell Ringers, directed by Melissa Cerduti, entertain us. And she wondered if it was always this busy, and we said no, it was just for her. So please let her feel welcome. So, Melissa. Let's give him another round of applause. That was a treat. Where's your guys' next appointment? That's beautiful. You should be, every night you should be booked somewhere. That was amazing. Thank you. Board, our first item on the agenda is the consent calendar. I would entertain a motion to accept this consent calendar. So moved by Doug. Second by Paul. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Board. Recognitions. Our first item would be the E+ Team Award at Weber High School, Mr. Ray Long.
Thank you so much. Dave, Jarvis, Cassie, would you mind coming up with me today? It's my pleasure to introduce to you three fantastic teachers at from Weber High School. And President Ritchie, Board, Superintendent Stevens, these three, I had a chance to visit with them last week and talk a little bit about their programs. I read their nomination form from Principal Wardle, and just praising them and the program that they've grown over the last about 6 years. I think, Dave, you've been there the longest, and then Jarvis came along, and Cassie. I think, were you a student at Fremont also? Prior to that, yep. But they have done some amazing things. When you talk about Weber High School, does it sound like a huge agricultural school? I mean, you know the valley and all that. And I was asking them, how do you have 300 kids in your FFA program? And I says, are they all from the valley? Because do you really have that many kids? And they said, no, they're from North Ogden, Pleasant View, Harrisville, and some from the valley. But they're so interested in seeing production, food production from the farm to the table, and they've just really embraced it. But as you and I know, that it's not just the animals and the plants that's so interesting to them. It's fantastic teachers that make it interesting, make it fun for them. So let's meet the team here a little bit. We've got Dave. Dave Schaefer teaches welding, small engines, and ag mechanics. We've got Jarvis Pace. He teaches veterinary assisting, natural resources, animal science. And Cassie Joyner teaches plants and soil science, ag biology, equine science, and floriculture. Now, I don't know about you, but we didn't have all those choices of classes when I was in high school. And to see a high school in the suburbs that they started out 6 years ago with Dave was the full-time teacher, and Jarvis was splitting between Fremont and Weber. They quickly grew the program to where Jarvis needed to stay at Weber the whole time. And then they continued to grow the program, and Cassie joined in a couple years ago to join this team. And now all three of them have 35 kids in the class all day long, even teaching some buyouts, so they don't have a prep. There's that much demand at Weber High School for agricultural science courses, which is just fantastic. And on top of that, so they're reaching. I think I have it in here in the slide coming up, but you're reaching about 600 kids throughout the school day.
Yeah, probably between the three of us, probably. So.
About 600 kids between the three of them, and they have 300 kids in their Future Farmers of America FFA program, which in their chapter program. Huge. Okay, I don't know which one.
We might be about half that.
Okay, about half of that. But 150 kids are participating in FFA, which is probably one of the highest in this area.
Well, last year we were told that we were in the top 10 in the state, so it was pretty awesome.
And Weber High, that's just so cool. But when I met with them, talked to them, and just ask them about this program and working together. And since this is an E+ Team Award, and we're talking about teamwork to grow this like this, these are when I walked away from them, I saw energy, I saw teamwork, passion. They were mentioning mentorship, enthusiasm, collaboration, fun. These are, I mean, I couldn't help but walk away from them knowing that they really like each other and they have fun. And then starting to speak with some of the kids, they dig this. They live for this. A few words from Mr. Wardle. He said that these three teachers have built a program that continues to attract students and, more importantly, teach and involve them in a variety of programs and skills that are truly lifelong learning opportunities. Now, I'm going to skip a lot what he has to say, but I'll give a copy to him. But he also says the Weber High Agricultural Department is also a wonderful resource for the school. They not only work to provide opportunities for our students, but to provide resources for our teachers. So some of the things they provide to the whole school, they're not just a team together, but for the whole school. Flowers for various activities, decorations for occasions. They've welded gates for our football stands, welded railings for our campus, created scenery for plays. They're team players at Weber High School, and they're such a valuable part of the faculty there. And those are just a few words. There were a lot of kind words. Mr. Wordle wrote a letter that I'll give to him. Mr. Long did as well. But a few of the program accomplishments. In the 6 years, they've grown it from 1 to 600. Their SAE program, the Summer Agricultural Experience, I learned a lot about that. They're spending times with kids during the summer. I mean, a lot of teachers teach so they can have the summers off. What they're doing is they're going around to their work sites, whether it's down at the district ag farm or they're going to their work sites at meat cutters, grocery stores, wherever the kids are employed. I'm sure maybe with working with some veterinarians, whatever they're doing for their summer jobs, they're doing it as part of this program. And these fine teachers are going around supervising and meeting with these kids and helping them out on the farm too. Because we've got kids that don't have land to produce agriculture production, but with the district-sponsored ag farm down in I guess we're in Taylor, these city kids can go out and raise animals and raise them and prepare animals for the fair, both the county fair and the state fair, and get that whole experience that a kid in a suburban setting normally wouldn't get. Their chapter, I'm sorry, I guess their membership, I had 170 on my slide. That's closer to correct, right? Then science fair, state, and national competitions. Jarvis's team, he's had 2 different teams of 4 students that have won the state championship 2 times in a year, 2 times in a row, 2 years in a row, and they've actually gone to national competitions, and Weber High School's represented very well, and Weber School District. And so, those are just a few of their accomplishments, and that's coming from me being excited, but we brought in the home run hitter. We got Nate Bamey over here. Nate, if you'll come up. Nate is a student, and he's a state. He's part of the state. He's a state officer in FFA from Weber High School, and I just wanted him to take a minute just to tell you about this program a little bit more, coming from a student that's involved in it.
So first off, I'd like to thank my advisors for all the years that I've been with them. Hopefully I don't cry through this, so you guys don't cry either. But like he was saying, they help city kids, because I am one of those city kids, to be involved in agriculture. I didn't have any land, and I decided to raise hogs, steers, and they were really the ones who kept me going. And I can't thank them enough for that. And I'd like to talk a little bit about each of them and the road to becoming a state officer. So as my sophomore year, Mr. Schaefer was my first advisor, and he was the one who wanted me to get involved in everything that was in FFA. He said, get involved, go and do everything that you can, get to know the people, and just get out of your comfort zone and try some new things. So I really took that to heart, and I tried everything that I could. So he encouraged me to become a chapter officer. So throughout my junior and senior year, I was a chapter officer. For my junior year, I was a chapter treasurer, where I learned plenty of financial, how to work with finances, but also to do plenty of public speaking and have those opportunities. And then for my senior year, I became the chapter president, where Mr. Pace, I was mostly in his classes for my senior year, and he really encouraged me to become a state officer because he was also a state officer back in his day, and he knew kind of exactly what was going on and how to prepare for that. So he was the one who really encouraged me, really got me prepared for all those rigorous tasks that I'd have to do. And yes, it was very rigorous. I had to go to Mrs. Joyner a few times during school and just talk to her for a little bit, and just her smiling face always gave me a better day for the rest of the day. She made me more excited and happy. So I can't thank all of them enough, because I know I couldn't have done it without them. Because as a state officer, going through that process, you have to go through plenty of interviews, and I didn't know exactly what I was getting into, but they for sure prepared me for that. So I can't thank them enough for that, and thank all of you for giving them this award, because I do feel that they deserve it, every single bit of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming. All right. We know people are programs, and this E-Plus team goes to great people that have created a wonderful program. And so let's give them a big hand. We do have an award for you, but I looked over there, and there's a big typo on it. So we're going to have to present you the actual award later, but I have some letters I'll get to you, and then the board would like to meet you. But before we do that, would you like to introduce who came with you this evening?
She's not going to enjoy this. She better stand up so everybody can see her. This is my wife, Katie, and she's the support from home. Couldn't do what I do at all if we didn't have support from home. So thanks, sweetheart. Love you.
So my wife's also here, Lauren, and then our two little boys, Logan and Luke, the little 2-year-old right there. So again, we couldn't do what we do without the love and support of our family. I mean, I know Veldon might think we're gone from the classroom a lot, but we're also equally gone from home a lot. So couldn't do it without those guys. So
my family's kind of scattered. I have my husband here, Colton. He's a FFA husband. Like Jarvis said, we're always gone, so he takes care of a lot for me when I'm away. And then I also have my mom here, Carrie Breeding, and my little sister, Cheyenne Breeding. She's an FFA member at Fremont. And my mom is a 6th grade teacher, and she's really the one that inspired me to get into this career field. And she's been a great example and mentor to me along with these guys. So thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
That's great, don't we? We have a great team of teachers that want to take care of our kids, and the enthusiasm Art had down, he may re-enlist in FFA. Next item on the agenda would be another E-Plus Team Award for transportation. Brian Rogers, please.
A lot of you I know, that part makes me nervous. I'm thrilled to be here tonight for a couple of reasons. One, to hand out some really neat and well-deserved awards. And this is the first time somebody's asked me to stand up and say a few words that wasn't in a funeral. So it's either I give a good eulogy or they put me somewhere that I can't hurt anything. So I'm going to start off. Dawn Slater, you come up. Karen Malone, Cindy Hancock. How many of you work with special needs kids every day? That's what these guys are. They're special needs driver. Dawn is a driver, Cindy's a driver, and Karen is an aide. Every day you hear them on the radio. Can you help me with this student? Can you help me with that student? And they're always willing to help out. Cindy comes in my office, I don't know, not a lot, because she drives clear out in Hooper, but every day she comes in, she always has something positive to say. So if there's a bad situation going on, I don't know how she does it, but she can turn it to good situations. And she always cries, so I know her heart's in it. So anyway, I'm going to just start off and just read something here that was sent to me. I'm a teacher for the Functional Life Skills class at Freedom Elementary. The transportation team at our school is just so awesome. Cindy and her aide, Karen Malone, are consistent and always showing a love for the kids. They have been servicing our students for several years and are always so caring with our students. Each day they come in the morning with a smile and kind words and return to pick them up with the same smile and how was your day? These two go above and beyond for the students in our district. There are so many stories of compassion they show these kids each and every day, but a few stand out in particular. If a student has broken a zipper on a coat, they are quick to take the coat and fix it during the day and have it back when they pick up the kids. They will do the same thing for a backpack. One morning we had a fire drill scheduled at 8:30. They kept the students on the bus until the all clear was given, knowing that these kids would struggle with changes in schedules and could start them off on the wrong foot. Once the bus was ahead of schedule and Cindy drove them to the duck pond to entertain them. They are always open to advice or feedback in order to help to provide the best for the students. This also came from the same teacher. Within the last month or so, I had a new student start who struggles with transition. Rather than to try to transition the student at the bus meetup spot, they have a transfer that everybody comes to, and students go to different units throughout the district, so they come to this one spot and they transfer to different buses. Dawn Slater has been driving to Freedom so that this student can avoid crazy transition. So Don goes out of his way to take care of the student. This alone is awesome. I was talking with the student's mother the other day after school and found something else out about Don. He recently had a day off for some reason or other. You ever take a day off? That's amazing. Don, knowing that this student would struggle with a substitute bus driver, drove his truck to the student's house, rode the bus with the student to the school before being returned to his truck to go about his day. This is just the tip of the iceberg, the cream of the crop. These guys every day do these kinds of things, and they're just amazing. And we have approximately 200 drivers, whether they be sub-drivers, special needs drivers, regular ed drivers, and probably 40 to 50 aides with substitute aides. So there's a lot of people involved in this. And I have to say, and I've said this over and I'll say it again, amazing people doing amazing things. Thank you for what you do to your students. So with that being said, Superintendent Stevens, got it. You're first. And Don, I have to tell you, Don and I talk a lot. Don only drives the bus, but he is the chairperson for the negotiating team and for the Drivers Association. He spends a lot of time after hours doing things for the whole crew at the transportation. He does an amazing job, but he comes in to me and he says, you know, I like getting an award, but he says there's so many people out there doing the same thing that I'm doing. He says they deserve it as well. And that is true. But I'll tell you, I've worked with Don his whole career, and we're two of the oldest, and it's been an amazing run. So I'll turn that time over to Don and Cindy and Karen and introduce your families.
Thank you, Brian. As he said, we've been working together for a few years. It's over 30 years that we've been together, Brian and I. And so it's been an awesome 30 years. I don't do awards very well. I like to just sit on the bus and just do my thing. But my wife is here. Luana, you got to stand up. If I got to stand up here, you got to stand up. We've been married for, I say, 30-something years. I won't say the exact years. My daughters, Rebecca, and her husband, Dustin. Come on, stand up. And their 3 kids, Kason, Amberly, and Cannon. Thank you.
So I brought with me my husband. I didn't invite any of my children because they'd probably overrun the room. So Ray Hancock. We've been married 30-something years. Yeah, that's where I thought we were going. And I actually was fortunate enough to aid with Don for 2.5 years when I started with transportation. And I tell people all the time, he taught me so much about the job that I do, how to deal with parents and children and all the different people that we have to deal with. And I appreciate all that he taught me when I was with him. It was a good 2.5 years.
And I'm Karen. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to have my family with me tonight, but I just appreciate my driver so much. I don't know what we'd do without such a fantastic lady, and I just enjoy coming to work with her every day so much. And thank you so much for this nice award.
And this Bill is our special ed coordinator with the bus drivers. He does such a good job, and I got to thank him for all he does. You need to stand up, Bill. I appreciate him doing that. And I also drive to Canyon View. And Jennifer back there, she embarrasses me all the time, so it's only fair that I get her even with her. Thank you.
I think there's one special person here tonight. I don't know if you guys knew. And Diane told me who she rode with. Deanna. She's come here to say hello. Come on up. Again, this is a privilege, an honor to be standing here with these fine people for the E+ Team Award. Thank you for having us, and Merry Christmas. Thank you.
back. I heard you got a good stream in front of your house and I can fish this day. All right. I don't know where I heard that.
I know exactly.
Did you see him?
Board, I'm sorry, we have to rush a little bit. We're going to make a swap off the agenda. We're going to, on the presentations, we're going to change, put the foundation on hold for a moment and go to the Weber School District Counseling Team and turn some time over to Gina Butters if we could. There's a commitment on a band concert or something that might be important.
Yeah.
So we need to definitely get there. So please, Gina.
We've got to get a couple of parents to go get out of here so they can watch their kids perform, which is ultra important. But great board, Dr. Stevens. We're so excited the student services team is so excited to feature our wonderful counseling team in the district. And we've picked 5 of our very best to take part in this presentation tonight. They're going to tell you a little bit about the great work that they do and how they serve kids. I can't think of a better way to sum up our counseling team in the district than that right there. Superpowers deluxe galore with this group right here. You're going to hear about it in just a second. Let me give you just a quick overview. How many counselors do we have, and what are they doing, and what are their school assignments? In our elementary schools, Weber School District has been so proactive through the years. They've actually made it a priority to add elementary counselors to the ranks, and I can't tell you how wonderful that is for our kids. We are one of the only districts that has that in place, and it makes a world of difference. We have 17 full-time counselors. Some are split between our elementaries, and we have 9 part-time counselors. All of our Title IX schools have a counselor full-time, except for one because of the lower enrollment at municipal. In our secondary schools, we have 18 total secondary schools, as you know, counting the peripheral schools there that I've listed. But there's 42 full-time counselors with 5 part-time. So if you do the math, we have 73 total counselors working their guts out every day on behalf of kids, and they do amazing work. I wanted to feature this because I know we're in a celebratory mood. If you haven't seen this, I'm sure you have. I don't know that it's public yet, so I'm okay to share it. But you can see our high schools across the board the last few years and the steady climb in our graduation rates across the board. And I can guarantee you that one of the main reasons that the rates are climbing is because of the work our counselors are doing. I want to make sure that they get a shout out. They're integral to their school improvement plans, especially at the secondary level, and then our elementary folks are getting kids ready for the next transition. But look at those numbers. You can see we're just improving across the board. It's wonderful. I'm going to introduce 5 great counselors to you. They're each going to take just a couple of minutes and highlight a few things that they're doing so you can get a taste of what the counseling job is all about in their school. And then if you have any questions towards the end, feel free to ask some questions. We're going to feature, first of all, Cher Elliott. And Cher is a full-time counselor at Plain City Elementary, rock star. She packs a punch in this little body, let me tell you. You don't want to try to keep up with Cher. Whitney Casey is our full-time counselor at Valley View. And again, small package, big stuff going on, all right? Laura Lee, and I always have a hard time with her last name, Gasho. She is a relatively new counselor at Bonneville High School and worked a little bit of a time at Roy High School. Then we have Jennifer Page, Weber High School Warriors, and Matt Deemer is representing Orion Junior High School. So I'm going to turn the time, first of all, over to Cher.
Okay, I have a challenge. I'm going to do this in 3 minutes. Okay, thank you. So I just want to tell you first, I was told that I needed to tell the board a little bit about our curriculum and what we teach in the elementary level. And so first I want to tell everybody here that I love what I do. It's hard, but I love it and I'm passionate about it. And part of my passion comes with this curriculum. Not so much the curriculum itself, but what it does for kids. So I was at a church function over the weekend and I had a little kindergartner scream from across the room and say, "Mrs. Elliott!" And I waved at her and she said, "That's the one who teaches me to focus." And it made me so proud, and I kid you not, 60 seconds later, and this could not have made a merrier Christmas for me, I had another little kindergartner come up and give me a big hug and say, I've been using my self-talk at home, and I got upset the other day, and I actually did a really good job. And it made me feel so good. So I just thought I'd share that with you because kids are learning it and they are retaining it. So anyway, we use Second Steps, and it's a researched and evidence-based program, and it's peer-reviewed, which is very important to me because if I'm going to take the time of 800 students every week for a whole year, I want to make sure what I'm teaching is going to work, and it's actually been proven to do so. So that's something that's very important to all of us that we do. Okay. There's 4 main topics that we cover in our program, and we cover them year after year. So just in a little bit different way each year. And at the end, if some of you can answer a few questions, there might be a little treat involved. These are gingerbread Lindor truffles. So it's not shabby, okay? So the first topic that we covered are skills for learning. And when we talk about skills for learning, we talk about focus and listening. We use self-talk to help us stay on task and being assertive to get the help that we need. Okay, next, empathy. This is probably one of the most important things that I feel we cover. We talk about empathy and how empathy is feeling what other people are feeling. And we talk about all different kinds of ways that we can do that and what that looks like. And then we talk about compassion and how compassion is actually empathy in action. And we go from feeling to actually doing. Now, what are we going to do about that? And the next one is emotional management. And this is a really great one. We talk about how our feelings get strong. We actually teach them about the brain and the chemistry. We talk to them about how to calm down and the strategies for calming down. Stop, name your feeling, calm down, some strategies. We count. What else do we do, Whitney? We count, we use self-talk, and we, I can't remember. Anyone, go on. Normally I can. I'm running out of time. Problem-solving steps. Step, STT. We say the problem, we think of solutions, we explore consequences, and we pick the best solution. And they actually learn this. They do it on the playground. We have it written on our playground in paint, and they go to a bench and they work their problems out on the bench. So anyway, thanks for listening. I gave you a handout to show you some of the lessons that we teach in each grade. So there it is. Thanks. And now time for questions.
Okay, so mine is just giving you a little bit of an overview about what we do aside from just the curriculum. So the main thing that I want you guys to remember and a takeaway is that we are just the extra puzzle piece for support. Okay, and here's just a little example of how I introduce myself to my kindergartners. A lot of my kids know me as Mrs. Potato Head. So, and that's okay. They walk down the hall, hey, Miss Potato Head. Okay, anyway, so some of the things that we that we kind of just try to instill in our kids is what they can use us for, is to help them teach new skills. All my kids know that they just walk by and give me a high five. They know that I'm there for a big hug if they need it. I had a little first grader the other day, had a really, really hard day. Anyway, I recognized that he needed somebody to talk to. He just came out of his classroom and just melted into my arms. And I just said, I can tell you needed that today. And he's like, yes, I did. So, and then, you know, it's always good to have feet and feet that move quickly, because you never know when you're going to be chasing a first grader down the hallway. And being 8 months pregnant with twins, your first year of counseling is really hard to do. So that's just kind of, we just let them know what we're there for, what they use us for. Okay? Next, please. I also want you guys to understand that, you know, it's all about the quality that we give our kids. And over the course of my 10 short years of being a school counselor, I've served roughly about 4,000 kids. And that is anywhere from just going into the classrooms or meeting with them individually. It doesn't really matter. It's just a huge span. But that's kind of not what we focus on. We don't focus on, oh yes, I met with 15 kids today. Okay? We we focus on the relationships. We focus on the students, the parents, and the relationships, the teachers, the staff, the principals, the whatever walks through our front door, that's who we support. Or side doors, whatever. Okay? Next, please. And I might need your help on this one because there's a little clip. This just tries to want you guys to understand just this. We're support for everybody. So I think this is a really good way to help us understand that. So this is just a guy that's recognizing a need. His friend's struggling. It would really be helpful if he had quicker feet, but he doesn't. And that's how I view all of us counselors, not just elementary, but even all of us educators. That's what I view us as, is just that extra support to just support that struggle to help them over. Okay, and the very last one. Okay, we facilitate thinking, engage minds, listen to questions, support struggle, encourage risk, cultivate dreams, learn every day. And we are school counselors. Thank you.
Good evening. So I'm Matt Deemer, and I'm one of the counselors at Orion Junior High. And much like that was mentioned, I love my job. And it's kind of interesting when people ask me, they say, what's it like working at a junior high? I'm looking around the room here. I know a lot of you have been in that shoes. Best way to describe it, adventure every day. And that's a good thing. So what I want to talk to you a little bit about tonight is the counseling program. It's very systemic, and things that are being taught in elementary, they move on up to some different things in junior high and then on to the high school. One of the things that we really kick it into gear when they get into junior high is we talk about what's called college and career readiness. And we have, as you can see, it's called the CCR process, college and career readiness. That's a big key for us. So just a few things that we do. When they come in as 7th graders, we're going in every quarter. We're having the chance to teach them different lessons, some of the words, languages, things about college, and giving students just a familiarity of that. So that's what we do as 7th grade. When they get into 8th grade, very big year. As we know, that's right before they technically become freshmen in high school. So we want to do everything that we can to get them ready for that next level. As part of this CCR process, we have what's called a College and Career Readiness Meeting. This is for every single 8th grader and their parents. It's something that we do with every one of them. We meet with them one-on-one, and we do a few things as we get to know these students. One, the first thing, we talk about credits. Start talking about graduation. And we talk about, you can kind of see it on the end there, on my left, my right, but 4-year plans. We want students to leave junior high, getting ready, going into high school, and having a plan. So with classes that they have at Weber High and a process of what they're going to be doing. After that, what we want to do is we really want to get to know the students. And we sincerely listen to them, what they're interested in. 3 questions that we want to know in that meeting that we ask them. We want to know what their goals are personally about themselves, academically, and then we also get this conversation going. We want to know about a job and career that they're interested in. It's a lot of fun. Based on that information, then it might go a different direction. So for example, if a student says to us, hey, I'm interested in engineering, that's something that I want to do, then we might say, hey, project lead the way here in our district. That's the way you want to go. And then we give them that information. They say, well, I want to be something with cosmetology. We say, let me tell you about the ATC. What a great opportunity that is in high school. If they're kind of like, well, I'm only an 8th grader, Mr. Deemer, why are you asking these questions? I'm still trying to figure it out. We say, that's okay, but let me give you some information. We have what's called our pathways. This is in correlation with Weber High School, or our feeder school. We have all these common jobs that we know that we hear often, and they tie directly with classes at Weber High School. So we tell them, look at these classes, look at these things that are available, and see if some of these things spark your interest. The last thing, and I feel this is very critical, and what I love about these PCCRs is we get to meet one-on-one with these students. It's the best part of the whole year. And not only do we talk about all these different things in this meeting, preparing for careers, but we also find out emotionally how they're doing. And I can tell you, it's a great opportunity to see if our students are struggling. A couple days ago, just real quick, met a student, talked with him. He's the kind of kid where you would never think that he was struggling. Well-liked, lots of friends, smiling. We found out because of this PCCR meeting, there was a lot of things that was going on. Now that we're aware, we're available to help him. So it's great. I love it. Junior high's the best.
All right. My name is Mrs. Gosher. I go by Mrs. G because obviously no one can pronounce that last name. So I'm supposed to talk about the CCR process as well. I'm going to kind of follow up what Matt said. Matt talked about the what with the CCR process. I'm going to talk about the why. In those college and career readiness meetings, we get a chance to start building those relationships with kids one-on-one. We showed a slide with graduation rates. The thing that we look at, particularly in high school, is those are numbers. I'm going to show you a picture, and I'm not going to pass it around because they're pictures of our kids. But these are your 7%, right? These are your 7% of students that didn't make that graduation mark. And this is who we're focused on in the Bonneville Cone. We talk about, as a cone, we talk about be someone's miracle. In Bonneville, we talk about how we're going to prepare kids to be successful, not just in college and career, but in life. And we do that through a couple of big things that we've kind of been focusing on the last 2 years. Like I said, these 21 kids in this picture, this is someone's brother, someone's sister, someone's son, someone's daughter. These kids are important, and we don't want to lose them. So we have focused on attendance and increasing on-track status as our two kind of main goals to help us meet our school improvement goal. With our attendance, we are calling parents constantly. We are meeting with kids constantly, checking in if they're in the building. If they're not in the building, we have our student advocates, our school resource officer going out on home visits. And we're not going on their door saying, hey, we need you to get to school. We're going to their door saying, hey, what's going on? How can we help you? We want to find out who they are. We want to learn their stories. We want to find out their strengths and their barriers. And we want to use that to help get them back into school because we can build those relationships once they come into that building. The other thing we've done is because the on-track status is a big push for us, we have implemented what we call the Laker Leap program. It's a cone-wide initiative where the junior highs have really had to help us jump on board in the 9th grade. They've worked really hard to get those off-track kids on track when they come to 10th grade. Because 10th grade's intimidating enough. Can you imagine not being on track when you come to 10th grade? That's a rough way to start. So just a couple of numbers. In 2016, 55 kids came to us off track. 9th graders came to us off track for graduation. Last year, 47. That might not sound like a huge number, but that's a pretty big push. And they did a phenomenal job remediating those credits for kids, helping kids earn those credits. It was an incredible process to watch. Bonneville then stepped in with the Laker Leap program, which is a free summer school program for 9th grade credits. And we were able to recoup 220 credits for these kids. So we had a lot of kids either start completely on track or just barely off track. We have a huge sophomore class this year, and it's probably the best as far as off-track status that I've ever seen. I've been there 2 years, but it's still good. So one of the things I want to talk about is on the surface, those don't seem like maybe college and career readiness things, but if you think about the soft skills that are required in jobs, in college, those problem-solving skills, those getting along, those are the skills we need to incorporate, and so that's what we're focusing on. Last thing I've said, because I got the time. Our motto, our mission statement at Bonneville is, as Lakers, our business is graduating students by educating, inspiring, and providing opportunities for achievement. That for us is not just words. It's what we're genuinely trying to accomplish. Those percentages are not just numbers. They're your students. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jen from Weber. At Weber High, we have 5 counselors, and we've been together, our counseling group, for about 10 years now. It's just awesome. We are in sync. And with our group, what I love about being a high school counselor is my favorite time of year, graduation in the tunnels, giving high fives to all those kids. And it is important. Graduation is important. It's that next step in life. And we use our community, as you know, up in Weber High, we have a great parent involvement. And they're not afraid to tell us what they want. And we're not afraid to change what we're doing to help make that happen. And so every year we're changing what we're doing. And one thing, we have a huge UCA, which is Utah College Application Week. Back in 2012, we looked at our results for those students who are applying for college and how are they going to pay for it? What do our FAFSA applications look like? And we had a dismal 54 applications for FAFSA in 2012. And we thought, wow, that's unacceptable. We got to get these kids how to learn how to pay for college and getting them moving on to that next step. Well, guess what? Through interventions we've made, looking at our data, changing things, doing added English, we go into English 11, we do a lot more lessons every month in English 11. This last year we got a report, I'm so excited, 262 FAFSA completions. Weber High ranked 17 in Utah. That is just awesome. And we are excited to just keep that push going and getting those kids moving on. We had, back in 2012, 75% of our students were going on to some kind of post-secondary education. Last year we had 90% of our students apply for college. Love it. And that's what we focus on at Weber High, is getting those kids moving on to the next step in their life.
Well, it's hard to pack an entire counselor's job into 10, 12 minutes, and we appreciate them moving through that so quickly. But I think I would speak for my entire team. Our entire team of student services. There's not a day that goes by that we don't go into school and just are either tearful, emotional in some way, happy, sad, just watching the hard work that these folks do. And they're change agents in their school. They really do have a superpower. And we're really proud of our counseling corps in the Weber School District. We want to thank you for your support. Do you have any questions for us or for them? We've got the student services crew over here. Karen Miller, coordinator for Fremont Cone. Sarah Allen, coordinator for Weber Cone. We've got Jan Burrell, Roy Cone, coordinator, and Mr. Dave Burt right over there, Bonneville Cone. We've got also a couple of great principals in the building that do know how much work these counselors do on students' behalf as well. So, yep. Belden, I think, slipped out. Yeah. Any questions though? We're glad to answer. Awesome. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being here tonight.
I got to turn you on first. First of all, and last, we'd like to introduce the best executive director of a foundation in the state, if not the world.
I'm the only one you know, John.
I wasn't talking about you. And if without further ado, Chris Zimmerman.
And Emily.
I just did you. You're only one on there.
Stand up, Em.
I'll let you introduce Emily.
I want to introduce Emily Euler. She's joined the foundation team in the last year and a half. And I wanted her to be here today because I was asked to speak about the foundation as a whole. I think it's kind of important because the last time I was here and asked to speak, in that chair right there was Buck Froer. I was asking how long ago that was. We think, Jeff and I figured it out, it was 9 years ago. So I either got to do a better job of speaking or I never get invited back. Is that what it is? So Emily's going to take a little bit of time on the Jubilee, and then I'm going to talk about the foundation as a whole. And since we do have so many members, I really want to just talk a little bit about our what we do and how we were formed and everything about the foundation. But I promise you I will get through it in 10 minutes because Claire looked at me and said, "You got 10 minutes." I said, 10 to 15. She says, "No, you have 10 minutes." So I will get through it in 10 minutes. The Christmas, I wouldn't normally start with the Jubilee. It's just one of our fundraisers. But when you just ended that, Was it amazing? 445 total gross revenue. That's an increase of 43,000 from last year, an increase of 55,000 from 215, and I like this one. It was an increase of 320,000 from Jubilee 2006. So we've come a long way in the last 11 years. Let's let Emily, we're in the teaching mode right now, and this was Emily's first Jubilee, and I said, it's yours, dear. Let's do it. Let's see how she did.
So this was just one of the most amazing opportunities that I've ever had. We had a really, really great year, and we had some amazing, amazing volunteers. And up on the screen, we had our highest record of sponsorships on our tables and our cells. We had an amazing over 100 trees. We sold all of them by Friday morning. We had over 300 silent auction baskets that we had 2 or 3 that didn't sell, but then we opened it up to the district and some people bought them from here, and it was just an amazing year. The ask was incredible. People are just giving to what we think is super, super important, and they obviously think it's important too, or else they wouldn't be giving. So it was just a really, really great year. We had amazing volunteer support. We had amazing committee chairs, and it was really neat. Great opportunity.
And Em had to stand in front of 900 people for the first time ever and talk, and I think she did a pretty good job, didn't she? Jubilee revenue, we're going to go over it a little more in detail in a minute. I don't like this. Can I stand over here? Thank you. Tree sales support, this is something that people don't understand. The Jubilee is a monster. It's big. It goes back 40 years. The tree sales support special needs grants. So all the grants we do throughout the year for adaptive equipment, that comes specifically from tree sales. And that started 40 years ago, and we've kept that tradition. A few years, about 8 years ago, we started what we call an ask. You heard it this year. We reach out to the audience. Steve, Karen, and I get microphones, and we go. This year, $130,000, I believe, in about 5 minutes. And that goes to, you can see some of our projects. Yes, We Can this year, fun project. All Abilities Playgrounds we'll talk about in a minute. iPads for autism, iPads for learning disabled. We've done some amazing projects with our ask. And then the sponsorship. So many people think that's all we do with the Jubilee special needs. No. The sponsorship, the table sales, silent auction support general ed. That's district support, our school grants, and our class grants. So it's an all-encompassing program. This is our mission. The Weber School Foundation is to raise and provide funds to enhance educational goals and opportunities for students. We are a 501c3. We're a separate entity. I do work for the Weber School District. You do, I hope, continue to pay my salary. But I'm assigned to this nonprofit. We have a board of directors of over 40 dedicated professionals. They're an amazing board, as John will tell you. He's been on our board for how long? I can't remember. 6 years, and just stepped off because of the move here, and Dean is taking over. But we have an amazing board. We have an executive committee that helps on day-to-day operations, including Superintendent Stevens. Of course, myself, I have this huge staff, Emily, and yeah, and that's double what I had the first 6 years here. And then just in the last year, the superintendent allowed us to hire one more, and we have Michelle. So Emily actually does development and includes running our events, and Michelle's our administrative assistant. That is our staff. Established in 1975, we're the oldest foundation in Utah, and we are a separate entity, but we have the strongest partnership around. What funds do we manage for your schools? Permanent restricted funds. This just gets a little technical here. Those are our endowments invested perpetually. We take care of that. Had a meeting on that today. And temporary restricted funds, those are investment funds allocated from the endowments, also donation made to the foundation specifically for schools. And then we also write grants that have specific intent. And then unrestricted funds, I like to call unrestricted funds, that's an IRS term, I like to call them board restricted funds because our board decides what to do with that money. And those funds are donated in our fundraising events without a donor designation. In our permanent restricted funds, we have $1.3 million currently. Just to give you a few examples, we have the Chard Principal Endowment up in the Valley. That's been around for probably 20 years. We have $300,000 in the North Fork Principal Endowment. That came from the Swanson family. And we have $500,000 in scholarship endowments currently. We are very serious about our management and our fiscal responsibility here at the foundation and have been for the last decade. We have a finance committee made up of Craig Adams, Brett Garris, Nikki Thon, Cheryl Cox. I can go on and on, guys. These people know money and they take it very serious, and they take care of our funds. We also take care of temporary restricted funds, another 1.3 million total. Those are our spending accounts from the endowments. So the endowments raise money, those go into spending, and we spend that money. That includes the Environmental Center, Chard, all the ones I've talked about. Look at some of the things we've done for the North Fork Environmental Center over the last 10 years. The windows, the insulation, wood-burning fireplace, mattresses, GPS units, and the Bowery. That was all done from investments on the endowment, all of it. Accomplished a lot. And then $210,000 we've spent in scholarships just from the endowments. And of course the temp restricted funds, a lot of people don't realize when Ms. Kawaguchi gives me $500 for Roy High, I have to honor that. I'd like to use it for something else, but my job is to make sure that I honor the donor's wish and that money gets to Roy High, and that's part of our responsibility also. And then, of course, we have approximately $500,000 in unrestricted funds. That doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you talk to any school foundation in the state and say, we have $500,000 in unrestricted funds in our coffers right now, they'll look at you and go, how did you do that? That's something we do with our fundraising, and we invest wisely. In some ways, yes. In some ways, our unrestricted funds are what we do with we have our grant money, but we're bringing in enough each year to pay off all our projects. So we've been able to keep this corpus for a rainy day and also for some extra projects. What do we accomplish with the money? We budget $75,000 per year. We give to our schools for technology, literacy, art, and music grants. Those are our what we call major grants. They're $5,000. It's a major grant for us, but it helps the schools out a lot. We've done anything from, you can see them up there, level reading libraries, Chromebooks, a lot of technology, pianos. The Leader in Me, this is a little shot we did to kick off the Leader in Me program. So anything that's needed in the schools that they don't quite have the money for, those extra things, that's where we step in. And then anything needed in the classroom that those teachers don't have the extra money for, that's where the $30,000 comes in. And we budget that every year for them. District support, I'll let you read a little bit of that because I'll bore you. But all the elementary field trips to 3 different locations, we spend $45,000 a year. We send 7,000 students to the Swanson Environmental Center. After school programming, we started the Roy Tutoring Project to supplement the Roy Project. Club Heights now has an after-school program that we're funding. Washington Terrace now has an after-school program that we're funding. Those are the things we like to do. It goes on. We fund a lot of projects. And then, of course, we do a lot of special needs. That's our Plain City program, playground right there. That was our fourth playground. We just budgeted and completed our 10th playground, over $1 million spent on special needs, all abilities playgrounds for your schools. I like to say with our special needs grants, we've spent up to $8,000 for a lift in a home, and we spent $12 for diapers. We don't care what they ask for the special needs children, we buy it. And that's what that money from the Jubilee's for. There's a profit and loss comparison over the last 10 years, starting in 6/30 of 2008. That was a little bit of an oddity. That first year, you can see $1 million. 2 things happened that year in revenue. We had a $250,000 gift in kind, so it comes in revenue, but it goes right back out. So it throws off your books a little. And we had a couple $100,000 from an insurance claim on our past history that we all know about. So that made that one a little high. But you can see in 2009, we were about a $500,000 foundation. We were also in 2008. You can see it go up in 2010, 2011, 2012. In 2015, we hit $1 million. In 2016, we continued at $1 million. And this year, we hit $1.5 million. As you can see, the expenses, we're giving all that money right back directly to the schools. However, we're earning a lot of interest and dividends. If you look at the total interest and dividends we've earned in the last 10 years from our corpus is almost $1 million. And we continue to give that out. However, we pride ourselves on making a strong foundation, so we don't want to spend every penny we bring in. So you see we have a net profit over the last 10 years of $1.6 million. So we're a very strong foundation. That's shown by our fund designation. The IRS makes every foundation track their permanent restricted, temp restricted, and unrestricted funds for their total net assets. That's what you call a decade of growth right there. We were at $1.4 million in 2007. In the end of 2017, we just topped $3 million in our corpus that we manage for the school district. How are we successful? We have the strongest foundation board of directors in the state. They are an amazing group. If you haven't had an opportunity to come meet them, please come to one of my meetings and meet them. We have community members. You met them all the other night, 900 of them. It's what Emily just talked about, that realize the importance of helping education. We have a good, dedicated group of staff members here. And we have a partnership with the Weber School District unlike any other in the state. If you travel the state and ask other foundations how they work together with their school board, their superintendent, and all of these administrators back here behind me, all I have to do is ask, and everybody's there to help. It is an incredible partnership. Even though we're a separate entity, we are a strong partnership, and that's what makes us successful. Questions? Anybody but Robert?
You're one bullet short.
I'm one bullet short?
I think you need to say that we have the best foundation director in the state.
Yeah, that's what John said, and I re-interrupted him. Any other questions? Doug's going to ask how often I golf. 5 years? How about somewhere in the area of about 1/8 of that? Let's see how good his math is.
We're working on that.
Thank you.
We are lucky. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity to work here. Thank you for the opportunity to represent you. And thanks for letting me talk to you tonight. And I'll see you again in about 9 years. That's how long it took him to invite me back.
There's the commitment.
So a good way for us to meet your board is to have your ribs again. We'd like to sign a contract for 9 years. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. The next exciting thing is Independent Auditors Report presented by Dr. Robert Peterson. It's okay.
Well, President, it's that time again of the year to formally present the audit and approve the audit so that we can then move forward and submit our reports in a timely manner to the state. Our audit went very smoothly this year. As you know, this is our third year with Squire & Company as our independent auditors. And we have with us Matt Geddes. He is managing us, the project manager, right, from Squire, and he was the point person. He works with Ray Bartholomew and Thomas Hesseltine as well. We're here a lot, and they have a whole staff of folks back in their main office to help out as well. But we'll kind of turn some time to Matt, and he'll review some of the highlights.
Thank you for having me. So I come every year for the past 3, and you always do awards, and I keep hoping that I'm going to see Auditor of the Year on your agenda, so maybe next year. But I don't get it from any other district either, so I'm still waiting. But I really do appreciate the opportunity that Squire has to work with such fine people, both you as a board as well as Superintendent Stevens and Dr. Peterson and everybody on their team. We're very appreciative of the help that you do. As we as auditors, we're disruptive in nature. So we come in and we disrupt your work, and you help us get through it. So just briefly, I've previously met with the audit committee and some of you and gone in greater detail over the audit. So I'm just going to go over a couple highlights, and if you have questions, we're happy to take those. We're hired to audit your financial statements. The financial statements we issue an opinion on, and that opinion is that they are presented fairly in all material respects, which is in school terms an A grade or a clean opinion. Sometimes it's referred to in audit terms, it's called an unmodified opinion, or the best opinion that we can give. So you're to be commended on that. In addition to our audit of the financial statements, we are required to audit some various compliance areas. So we have federal compliance as well as state compliance, and we issue an opinion on both of those. With federal compliance, we audited the special education program this year and issue once again an unmodified opinion, or in our opinion, the district complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements related to that program. Likewise, the state auditor issues a state compliance audit guide, the Utah State Auditor, and we issue an opinion on the compliance requirements that he's asked us to look at. And once again, a clean opinion or an unmodified opinion that the district complied. Very boring report, right? But that's what you want from an auditor, is a very boring report. Once again, we're appreciative of you and all that you provide for the students of your school district. Any questions at all? Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Also, we have with us Seth Pilkington here. You all know him. He is our assistant business administrator, and Doug's having challenges there with his treats. Very good, very good. Anyway, so we thank Seth and all of our staff, and then the folks out in the schools and our directors. This year it was special ed's turn to be audited as far as our federal programs, and they were brilliant and very cooperative, and all is well there. And at this time, President, we'd like you to have we'd like to have an approval of the audit and a motion to approve, and so we can move on.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Matt. And thank you, Seth, and your team for putting this together. Board, you've heard the presentation from our independent auditor, and I'd entertain a motion that we accept the auditor's report. So moved by Doug, seconded by Mitzi. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Job well done. Thank you. Proposal to declare boundary studies and organize a boundary study team. Miss Tammy Alexander.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent. Now that the 2017 bond has passed, we will begin moving forward with plans for 2 new elementary schools in the northern region of our district, specifically in Far West and Pleasant View, in those 2 communities. Part of the planning that needs to take place before those doors open is a boundary study. So what I am asking tonight is for the board to allow me to open a level 3 boundary study, which is required by policy 4151 when a large number of students are involved, when there's a possible modification to a junior high boundary. We don't know that yet, but Art will be involved with us and will help us with those kinds of things as well. So let me just show you very quickly. I know most of you remember this, and if you can see better behind you, that's fine too. Our new Far West school, you can kind of see where it sits in relationship to Far West Elementary. You can see Plain City Elementary at the bottom of the screen. You've got the interstate, the golf course, kind of gives you an idea of the area of where that school is going to sit. So that's one area that we need to look at a boundary study for, and look at how we staff that school and how many kids will be going to that school. So I will work with Art to involve any schools in the surrounding area that might be affected by any boundary changes. The next site is our Pleasant View site. Yellow star again. You can see the top of the screen where Lowman View sits, and at the bottom of the screen and to the right where Majestic sits. So you've got this parcel of land kind of in between Pleasant View Drive and 2700 North that will be developed as another elementary school. So, Policy 4151 requires us to involve a level 3 boundary study. So the people involved in that study quickly will be principals, community council people, PTA members, myself, transportation, faculty. Scott will be involved through maintenance. And then what we will do is, hopefully by next December, bring to you a proposal or two and ask you to approve those level 3 adjustments. This is kind of what we're doing next. Each school is going to form a local boundary study team. So we have 2 teams that get involved. There's the local boundary study team that consists of principals, staff members, parents, and then we have school level teams. So you have the district level team and you have school level teams. The district level team is made up of people from the school level team and district office staff. Meetings take place at both levels, and the idea behind those existing 2 teams is that information is brought back and forth between the 2 teams so that a solid plan can be developed and a proposal can be made to the board. We always hold open house meetings in order to gather additional input once some plans have been formed. So after this takes place and we come up with a few scenarios, we will come to the board on a first reading with a recommendation, and we'll give it a moment to have some input from community, and we'll take it back to the district boundary study team and local boundary study teams, and then we will come to you on a second reading for a final proposal. So that's very quick, but it's late and you all want to go home. So are there any questions about this particular boundary study? It's definitely going to involve multiple schools. I don't foresee who those are, but we will involve anyone that might need a change. So, for instance, let me give you an example. When we looked at Birch Creek Elementary, we included Marlon, Club Heights, Washington Terrace, and H. Guy. But as we got into the proposal, we got into numbers, we started looking at plans, we realized we didn't need to change anything from H. Guy's boundaries. So we included them, didn't end up executing any boundary change there. We would rather include too many than not enough and have to go back to the drawing board. So it will be a big operation. There will be 2 separate boundary studies involved. Any questions? At this time then, I would ask the board permission to begin boundary studies for both of those new elementary schools.
Cammie, thank you. You realize you set the bar very high on Birch Creek. We expect nothing but the best on these 2, knowing that you've doubled your workload.
It's going to be a great process.
That was an awesome process that you went through. I'm surprised at how smooth it happened without any type of phone calls or emails to any of us. And we look forward to the same thing happening. And we as a board are there to support you anywhere we can. So with that, I would entertain, board, a request to declare a boundary studies for the Far West and Pleasant View communities. So moved by Doug, seconded by Janice. Any discussion? I said Bruce, didn't I? Oh, sorry, Doug. Just clean up your mess. It'll be by Bruce, please. Bruce made the motion, seconded by Janice. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Again, thank you, Cammie, and good luck. Seeing we've come to the end of our agenda, I'd like to thank staff for showing up and your hard work. Have a great night. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Dean, seconded by Paul. Any discussion? None. Need none. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Good night. Have a great holiday.